Jason. Today, I'm going to show you how to have perfect hair like this. Yeah. We're going to put on a hat. But today, we're going to be making some pulled pork. I've kind of honed my own little feng shui way to do it with the pulled pork. I'm going to walk you through it. We're going to see how it turns out. So, first thing you're going to want to do when you're doing any kind of smoking on a charcoal grill is get your coals going, get them good and hot, but you do not want to even mess with that meat in the grill until everything is hot, everything's ready, everything's already up to temperature. A lot of times I'll actually save my junk mail and I'll ball up some paper and light that under there. It doesn't take a whole lot of flame. Once you get a fire going just a little bit in there, the coals kind of do the rest and they'll slowly catch each other. So you don't need to go nuts. It's not going to get glossy, crystally clean. It's not going to look like stainless steel again. You don't need that. You just want to scrape all this nasty junk off so that way when your mom or your girlfriend or your wife is like, ew, we're going to eat meat off that, you don't want to hear that. You want them to go, oh, you should clean your grill. And you can go, eh. And then that's the end of it. You can use these guys, and they sell them, and they're like 12, 15 bucks, something like that. It's just a little metal tray that kind of hugs the side of the grill, and then you can load that up with your coals to keep them from rolling over and keeping the heat more indirect. They work great, but if you don't have these, you really don't need them. I'm not going to use it because I'm going to be using more coals than will fit in that anyway. What I like to do is take the old coals and kind of make a little bedding. I'll hollow out the middle just a little bit just to give it, basically make a little ring to hold all the new coals. And as the new coals start to burn, they will start to light these, so it helps prolong your heat and keeps it where you're not having to come back and add coals right away. So we got our grill ready. We got our chimney smoking. Dog on the lookout. So we're still killing time now. Grill's ready, so we're going to go ahead and prep that meat. All right, meat talk. So the most important part of any barbecue is your meat. Not just how you cook it, but more importantly, the actual piece of meat itself. So this is a Boston butt. I always get Boston butt cut when I'm doing pulled pork. I prefer something that's got a good marbling and a little bit of fat to it. You don't want something too lean. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want any fat on it. You need the fat when you're doing a pulled pork, when you're slow smoking, because that fat breaks down and liquefies, and that's what helps tenderize and soften and make this meat just fall apart. If you get something too lean, it's going to get tough. It's going to be chewier rather than softer. If you get something too fatty, it takes forever to cook because the fat is harder to break down. But then you get that kind of greasy, soggy, it's just not palatable. So you want something with a good marbling, you want some fat, not too much. This is actually a pretty good looking cut here. So the washing machine and the dishwasher are running, so that's good. Nothing like a low quality YouTube video to start your day. We're gonna go ahead and start caking this bad boy up. I try to be cautious of how much I'm doing of touching the raw meat and touching everything else. So I try to kind of get as much of this base on here as I can and one-handed work it. So that way I'm not touching all over my Rubbermaid, getting it all funko. You just want to kind of, you can rub it in kind of a little, but you're mostly sort of patting this and smashing it on there. Cake it real good. That is a good looking hunk of meat. Now that we're all rubbed up, ready to go there, we're gonna go ahead and flop outside and check and see. Our coals should be ready now to get on the grill. So let's toss them on. Bring this thing up to temp. We're not gonna even touch this grill with the meat until the temperature is where we want it for cooking. we're not going to throw wood on it until right before we put the meat on it. And the nifty thing is with this grill grate I've got, and Weber sells these, you can get them at like Home Depot. They've got flip up hinges on either side. So when you're doing indirect, you can flip that up, throw your wood on without having to take your meat off, pull the coals off, all that pain in the butt stuff. So let's go ahead and throw this guy on there, get to heating. All right, grate's on, lid's on. Got my vents open about halfway. You can see our coals cooking away in there. It's gonna climb up real quick at first, but it's gonna level back down. So we're almost to 275 now, but when we come back in about 5 minutes time, that's gonna be lower. So we're gonna choke it to about right there. I think it's probably gonna be good. We're just gonna let it do its thing for a while. This is where you have a coffee or a beer and take some time. Get your grill right before you put the meat on it so you're not chasing your temperature up and down once the meat's on it. So here's an advanced level tip for you. While I'm cooking, I like to keep the meat moist, and to do that, just get a good spray bottle. Spend the $5 on the good one. Don't get the one they got for 99 cents at the dollar store, because it's not going to work but one time. And I write food all over it. Food use, food use. So that way I know I don't accidentally go and put bleach on it one day and then, you know, my mouth turns different colors. So I get one of these. You want to put just a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it. Apple cider vinegar is your friend. So you don't need to go crazy because you're just misting the meat a couple times throughout the cook. But we're going to pour a little bit in here. Like, honestly, that's plenty. That's more than enough. And then I kick it the rest of the way with some cool water. You don't want to fill it all the way up either. You want to do about that's a little more than 50-50. That's perfect. We're gonna heat it up just a little bit more. I think I went a little heavy on the water. But about a 50-50 mix is what you want. You want that kind of, looks like I had about, 8.5 Coronas the day before, kind of color. And set it to where it's just gonna mist, about like that. And what you're gonna do, I set timers on my phone for every hour that I'm cooking, just to go out and check the temperature, make adjustments to the vents if I need to, and then if everything looks good, I also mist it with the apple cider vinegar. And what that does is the apple cider vinegar kind of helps tenderize the meat a little bit more. It helps add a little bit of flavor. I like that Carolina style vinegar-based barbecue. It just keeps it from drying out, makes it taste better. It helps. As you're cooking, you're losing moisture, so that helps keep that moisture in. So hit it once an hour with that. Makes a world of difference. I got a mini fridge outside right by the grill, so I just stick this in the mini fridge, and then once an hour, pop it out, and then we're good to go. So coals are on, coals are heating, grill's about ready. We got meats rubbed down, we got our vinegar spray. We are ready to go. All right, meat's out here, meat's ready. Grill is right about 300. It's okay to be slightly above your target temp to start, because as soon as you put this on, your temperature is going to fall. But you want it to be consistent, and it's been hanging at 300 now for, honestly, probably about the last 5-10 minutes while we were inside doing the rub and the vinegar. So temperature is nice and consistent. We're going to go ahead and open this bad boy up. We're going to cheat a little bit. You can call it cheating, call it, taking the, some tricks. We've got a probe. Poke it right down in here, just above the bone, right in the center. And I've got a digital meat thermometer, so it'll tell me when we're getting close to target temps. We're going to pick this guy up. We're going to throw him right on this side, away from the coals. Right there. You want your vent to be above the meat. And we want that because you want to be able to take your wood and stick it over the coals, have that smoke come over, and you want all your smoke to roll around your meat and up out that vent. I've got some chunks of cedar that I've got cut. I've got some natural oak also. I'm going to get it soaking. I put it in a bowl of water. I soak it. And then that way it doesn't just burn immediately. It'll actually smoke instead of just burning. So we're going to let this go for a second, regulate that temperature. Then we're going to go ahead and throw our wood on there and get this thing smoking. We got our assorted woods soaking. We got some oak chunks in here. I got the cedar in here. The cedar will give it kind of almost a sweetness to it. The oak's going to give it that classic, barbecue joint taste. We've got grill temp dropped down to about 275 for a few minutes, but we're already back up almost to 300, so now it's time to regulate. A little bit goes a long way, so you're going to choke it down just slightly. Typically, on my grill at least, the vent's just barely being open hovers me around that 250, 275 mark, which is really what we're hunting for today. So we're going to try it right there. Do a little bit, leave it be. Don't go nuts. Don't go jumping it up, because it's real easy to go from 0 to 60 real fast. I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple of these chunks on so I can close this lid and leave it down for a while. Because the last thing you want to be doing is going in there and jacking with it over and over and over and over again and losing all your heat. Coming up. Bring that grate up, and we'll just leave this up actually, because we can continue to add. Throw a couple pieces of that wood on there. Boom. Like so. See, sitting down in there, smoking away. And flop that lid down, and that's where we leave it be. So, see you in an hour. Right, about an hour 15 in. We're still cruising a little hot. We're still right at 300. It hasn't dropped down. So good enough time as any to open this thing up, vent it a little bit. Let's mist our meat down. You don't want to go crazy, but you just want to get it moist all the way around. Perfect. We're going to throw another chunk of oak and our cedar piece on here this time. Okay. Boom, back to cruising. Smoke coming off the grill. Birds are chirping. It's time to open up our first grilling juice. Right. Cheers. We're out here checking on our meat again. Got my handy dandy measuring guy. We are at 111 degrees, which is pretty good. Making decent time. Grill's still hovering right at like 290, but I'm okay with that. I'm gonna leave it be. It's consistent. It's a little hotter than I want, but I'd rather have consistency than try and jack around with it. It's smoking really good. We got plenty of wood on there. I'm not even going to pop the lid this time to spray it because it's holding well. It's heating up well. So we're at 111. Our goal temp is 195. So what you really want is 195 degrees before this comes off the grill and gets pulled. So we're going to try and get it slowly there. It's going to stall at about like that, 170-ish usually. We're going to have to wrap it in foil. Get it up to temp, pull it off, unwrap it, and then I'm going to slather that barbecue sauce on it. Once that's done, we'll let that sit for like 20 minutes or so, let it caramelize, and then wrap it again, yank it off the grill, throw it in a cooler inside. And 195 is that perfect temperature that's going to melt all those fats. It's going to make everything nice and soft instead of having that kind of chewy consistency. You want all that fat to cook away and just turn into yummy liquid goodness. So we're on our way, 111, pretty good. Like I said, we're making pretty good time. It's 11:20 right now. So it's actually only been on here. We put it on right about 10. So we've been on about an hour, and 20 minutes or so. So just cruising, we're gonna leave it be and keep checking on it. Oh yeah. Alright, just checked our meat. Meat temp is at about 158 right now. We've been cooking, it's 1 o'clock. We started this thing at 10, so it's gone, what, 3 hours of cook time. Cold bed is still good, but we're trying to escalate our cook a little bit. We got people coming about 2 o'clock. This is really, the goal would be on a piece of meat this big would be to be about a 6-hour cook. I'm going to try and condense it to about 4.5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wrap the meat and start that high heat process a little bit early. So we're going to wrap it up with a couple layers of foil. And that's going to do a couple things for us. It's going to lock in our juices. But it's also going to help insulate the meat so we can get that temp a little bit hotter. Pop this back on. Like that. Throw a couple extra coals in here so we can get her roaring. No need to put on more wood at this point. You're not smoking if you're wrapped in aluminum foil. Alright, so we hit our degrees mark. We actually hit the 195. Mixed up some barbecue sauce. I'm going to go ahead and coat this bad boy up. This is just Sweet Baby Ray's. I like to take a little bit of brown sugar and mix it in with it, a little bit of Creole seasoning, a little bit of spices. I take a little bit of the mix that I did the rub with, just a little bit, sprinkle it in there and mix it all up. And I also put a little bit of marinade in it, make it nice and juicy. We're going to take our last piece of oak, shove that on a hot part of the flame so we can get some good smoke on it. While that's running, we're going to throw some ears of corn on here. Get some corn on the cob action. Bam! Give this about 10 minutes or so. We'll yank the corn off, and then we'll see what that meat looks like. All right, here it is, 3:12. So behind schedule as usual, but an important lesson: you don't choose the time. The meat tells you it's ready, and this meat is telling us it is ready. We hit our 195, we pulled it off the aluminum foil, we went ahead and coated it in some barbecue sauce. We're letting it glaze on here for about 15 minutes now. We got some corn on the cobs on there going. Little trick, another advanced level tip for you. Best corn on the cob, don't look at it. Grab some corn, soak it in some water, in the husk. Soak the husk in water in a sink. Let it sit for 10-15 minutes, throw that on the grill. When the husk is dry and the tips start to burn, that's when it's ready. Pull them off the grill, peel the husk off, and it'll be the juiciest corn you've ever had in your life. It's the husk sealed in the moisture. It's doing what it is intended to do, which is hold in the moisture, keep it safe. And it does, and it tastes fantastic. Bam, and voila, look at that.
Now we gotta claw the meat.
Now you gotta claw the meat. Yep, now we're gonna slap this bad boy up on here. Well, first we're gonna bring it inside and we'll claw it inside. But I got those to help me pick it up. And we're gonna throw our corns over the hot part of the grill. Bam. Alright. Ready? Oh, yeah. Look at that. Bone starting to stick out, fall apart on its own. It's jiggly, it's juicy. Left a little skin behind. Bam. Oh, yeah. bring this corn in. Get the door for me. Look at that warm, juicy, smoking meat.
Oh, no, too small.